What's up, everybody? This is the Worth Crowd podcast. I am one of your hosts, Douglas Harden, and the other guy on the screen is Jacob Klukas. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about the All-Star weekend, NBA All-Star, and how awesome it was. Just kidding. A little foreshadowing into what we're going to talk about. We're going to also talk about AI and how the future of sports betting and how AI is going to play a role into that. And probably how technology is going to play a bigger role in sports in general in the next 10 to 20 years. And then USA and Canada hockey. That's back. It's back. Hockey was exciting for a little bit for me watching that. But yeah, let's get into it. I say we start with the All-Star weekend and we'll move on.
I mean, what a shit show. I mean, so you had laughed about it when I said it. We sat there and watched the All-Star game, the last game, and how it ended and everything. And then my immediate reaction after the game was, the All-Star game still sucks.
Yeah, it was worse than the one original.
So
what they did before.
I mean, so let's kick it off from the beginning. Listen, a lot of people have issues with the Celebrity All-Star game because nobody knows the people who plays in the Celebrity All-Star games half the time anymore, which I don't care about. It's not really the Celebrity All-Star game was never anything that I took time to watch anyway, so I could care less about that game.
I think it's kind of funny though.
I mean, yeah, it's funny when you see the guys like like Kevin Hart, like when Kevin Hart used to play in it, and
yeah, Casanat and Drewski.
Yeah,
like them playing it was funny.
Yeah, so then we get, the Rising Star game is always pretty entertaining for the most part because it's a bunch of just young guys trying to not only showcase their talents to the world on a national stage that some of them maybe don't get to, but, to their coaches as well. And this is a chance for them to, show something, and maybe that coach, their coach is sitting watching at home going, oh, I didn't know that he had that,
Mm-hmm.
So then we get to Saturday. This is the beginning of the end for the All-Star weekend. Is Saturday night. Skills competition is always usually probably pretty good. Then when you had what happened this weekend, and if you don't know what happened this weekend, Chris Paul and Victor Wembanyama allegedly cheated for the All-Star skills competition. Now, why do I put quotes around allegedly? Because what they did, there's nothing in the rule book that says they can't do. And if you don't know what they did, when you go through the skills competition and you go through the first round of the first little wave of shooting, which is, I believe, a 3-pointer, then a free throw line jumper, and then a corner jumper. When they got to those, they were just throwing the balls off the rack, essentially not attempting a shot.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is around the rule book, there's nothing in the rules that says you have to make a shot. So them just doing that, you can't tell them that that's not a shot attempt. So, I mean, if you want to change that and you don't want that to be a part of your rules, then you need to change your rules and say you have to make one. And if you don't make one, we're adding time to your, to the end of your time. There's no rules that say they can't. They did that. They just threw the balls off the rack. They ended up disqualifying Chris Paul and Wemby. Now, my issue is I didn't know apparently before the skills competition, Wemby had asked 5 or 6 different people if they were allowed to do that and was told yes.
But they got disqualified, right?
They
got disqualified.
Yeah.
Seems like they broke rules then if they got disqualified.
If they asked 5 or 6 different people and they were told yes, I want to know who the people they asked that told them yes, because if they're anything of officials, then, again, if you're not cheating, you're not trying, they were kind of robbed. They were kind of screwed out of that. So ended up when the Cavs or Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley ended up winning it. Skills competition is a skills competition. I mean, it's entertaining for the most part. Then you get to the 3-point shootout, which is probably at this point the highlight of All-Star Weekend Saturday night. And the 3-point competition this year really wasn't that exciting. There really wasn't. I mean, Buddy Hield had the 31 in round one, which tied for the most with Steph Curry. But outside of that, there really wasn't like a. Usually in the 3-point shootout, there's two guys that's like separate themselves and they end up going back and forth with each other. And there really wasn't that this year. So, but the 3-point shootout, again, as I said, probably the most exciting part of Saturday night. I've said at this point, with the way the dunk contest and everything has gone, they should just move that to the last thing Saturday night. And at this point, if you want, I would open it up to more people than just like 6 or 7. I would make it like an actual like 3-point shooting like tournament type thing. And, invite 16, 20 shooters and do like a tournament style 3-point shootout. But that's what I would do. And then you get to the slam dunk contest, which essentially has been dead since about the Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine dunk contest.
Yeah, I would say so.
And why has it been dead? Because nobody participates in it. Half the time that, unless you're a diehard NBA or basketball fan, half the time nobody knows the people in the dunk contest. Stars aren't lining up to participate in it. And Mac McClung, not throwing any shade at Mac McClung, because Mac McClung has been phenomenal the last 3 years he's won it. He's really been the only reason why people have been watching the dunk contest, is because at this point they just want to see what Mac can do. But it's been bad. I mean that first round, if you watched it, outside of Mac McClung, I mean, the 3 guys in front of him had a struggle of even just attempting a dunk. I mean, it's hard to watch. And yeah, I mean, your stars just don't want to do it. I mean, and I don't know what you got to do to change that. I mean, again, it seems like this happens after every dunk contest, so I'm not going to get too excited. But after this dunk contest, you had guys like John Morant, Giannis, Zach LaVine all come out and say, maybe we need to re-enter, or maybe we need to enter next year. So it seems like that happens every year, where somebody goes out and goes, oh yeah, I'm going to participate in it next year. And then next year rolls around and they're not in it. So I'm not going to get too excited about it. I hope it does. Like I said, Giannis said if Ja entered, he would enter. Zach LaVine said maybe he needs to come out and do it again. Look, I would be all for a John Morant, Giannis, Zach LaVine, and Mac McClung dunk contest. Would be all for it. But until the stars enter that dunk contest, nobody's going to really care about it anymore. It's not that exciting. Again, and I don't know what you got to do to change it. I jokingly, and I'm also kind of serious, said I would, if I'm the NBA and I want to promote the dunk contest as much as I possibly can, I would have Mac McClung for the next year go on like a world shit talking tour, and any press conference he can, anytime on social media he can, I would have him do something along the lines of, these guys won't enter because they're scared to face me in a dunk contest. And I bet you the competitive nature in one of these guys at least would go, all right, I'm in. So
yeah, I mean, I think one person needs to just do it. I think like someone like, I don't know, like if KD was just like, hey, I'm just gonna go participate in the dunk contest.
It only takes one.
Right.
It takes one of them to go, I'll do it. And then now the thing is, if they do it, it has to be somewhat of a success. Not saying you just hand them the win, but because
yeah.
But it has to be somewhat of a success, because if other stars see it and it's a bad look on them or something, they're going to be like, see, this is why we don't do it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, but it's really for views. I mean, really, they have to understand that the NBA's ratings are severely down, and the players should be trying to help the league as much as possible. Not saying they care about that 100%. They're going to get paid regardless, but that will start eating it. If the viewership starts dropping more, that's going to start eating into salaries.
Oh
And,
yeah.
I think players like Kevin Durant that would, I don't know how many years he has left, but if he just comes out and says, all right, I'm going to participate, it's going to be one person and a bunch of others going to do it. But Mac McClung is a great dunker.
Yeah.
And he can, it seems like he can compete with probably most guys for creativity just alone.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that he's done this 3 years in a row and have been creative in all 3 years tells me that he still has more in the bag that he just hasn't released.
I think he should. I mean, do they when they? I know he's in the G League, but did the Magic have? Did the Magic have to like bring him up for him to participate?
Mm-mm.
Okay, but he just wore the Magic jersey.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, I think that's what he thinks about all year. Starting the day after, he's like, I need some more ideas for dunks.
Well, so
because he's probably made a lot of money off of this.
So
from
yeah,
endorsements, all kinds of stuff.
About that, hold on, I'm gonna pull up the exact. So yeah, so Mac McClung's dunk contest earnings that he's made in the 3 years of winning the dunk contest is $310,000. Okay, his total NBA career earnings is $132,000. So I'm not counting pockets, but I mean, I think Mac McClung does it because he knows he has a very good chance of winning, and it's his most money he's going to make.
Yeah, you might see him like a commercial or something down the line, and you never know.
So, I mean, they got to do something to fix it. I mean, fix All-Star Weekend in general, but especially that, like,
yeah, it was so iconic.
We're going to talk about with the All-Star game. They got to add incentives or something for them to want to do this. And
can't do money; they already make enough.
And so that's where we're going to get into All-Star Sunday. So they did this new format. Rising Stars, the winner of the Rising Stars game got to play in with the other 3 All-Star teams, essentially. If you don't know, Team Shaq ended up winning. And again, it was just boring. I mean, first of all, I would understand if they did this format, playing the first 2 games of this tournament-style format, playing the first 2 games to 40. But that last game, you gotta raise it up a little. I mean, you gotta set the bar a little higher. But I said, and I still stand by this, because when they started it in 2020, I thought it was a great idea, and I thought for the first 2 years of it was when we got the closest thing to a competitive All-Star game that you were going to see. And it was when they started this Elam ending. And like I said, the first 2 years of it, you could see, first 3 quarters, they're kind of just going through the motion. They're just, kind of going through everything. But that 4th quarter came, and now you have a target score you have to get to. If that game's close going to that point, you saw them start to, tighten up a little bit and want to win. And I think they go back to that. But this is, and I was talking to somebody about this. I think you go back to doing it that way, and I don't think you let the top 2 vote getters draft your teams. Because I think at that point you're getting too many emotions into it. You've got too many, I want to play with this guy. Yeah, sure, they still want to win, but they're picking people based off who they want to play with and stuff. So I think you go back to the way it was, the way we had been for the last couple of years. But I'd say whoever your 2 coaches are going into that All-Star game, let the 2 coaches draft. Because they're going to have the most unbiased. They're going to want to win. They're going to be they're going to pick probably the 2 better teams as far as even goes. And you gotta add some kind of stipulation to it, like if they win. And like I said, I posted about it on Facebook. Like you can't make money the incentive. These guys make way too much. A lot of these guys make $45-50 million a year. That $210,000 bonus isn't moving them to want to play harder in the All-Star game. I'm sorry. So you got to add something. Me and my buddy had suggested, okay, what if you started making maybe a couple more like All-Star awards outside of MVP? Like you handed out an All-Star game defensive player of the game, You hand it out kind of like, with high school, when you go and play in these like holiday tournaments and stuff, you've got your, tournament, all tournament teams. So like, what if you did like a first team all-star game, like all-star game, and you got incentives, and now your incentives would still be money, but it goes into your contract. Like this goes towards you getting a supermax. Like if you make this goes towards whether you can get your supermax or not. You win this award, this can go towards whether you get your supermax or not. So, and I think that would kind of incentivize them to, make it there, and then obviously, play a little bit harder to want to make that first team, all-star team, and then, win MVP, win a defensive player of the game award, something like that. But you gotta figure something out. And I've floated the idea, and it's not like me saying like I'm the only one. Obviously, I'm not. But we floated the idea out that maybe a USA versus the World All-Star game would work. The problem with it is when you look at it and you really narrow it down of All-Stars for the World and All-Stars for USA. There's way too many USA guys that would be left off the All-Star team that you're just not going to get to see. Because, so like I broke it down, if you did USA versus the world, theoretically, so you're looking at a USA starting five of Steph, Ant, LeBron, KD, and I put Embiid on there just because he played for Team USA. I just went off based off the Olympics. But obviously, if you wanted to move Embiid to the world team and put somebody else there, that's fine. But I just went off the fact that he played for Team USA this summer. I just left him on the USA side. So you got that. And then, so like starting five-wise, this looks really good. Because then you look at the world team and you're talking Luka, Shea, Giannis, Jokic, and Wemby as the other five. But now when you start diving into the bench, the USA bench, and again, these are all just hypotheticals that I threw out there. You're talking Tatum, Dame, Anthony Davis, Booker, Brunson, and then you got to find other American bigs, because the problem is most of the bigs in the league are all, would all play for the world team. So I've got Evan Mobley and then Donovan Mitchell rounding it out. And then you look at the world bench, and it kind of like, as you go down the list, it kind of, I don't want to say gets worse, but you have Karl Anthony Towns, Pascal Siakam, Sabonis, Jamal Murray, Alperen Sengun, Franz Wagner, RJ Barrett. So do I think it would be competitive from the mindset of, if you put it as a USA versus the world, it's kind of still like an Olympic mentality, kind of? Sure. But, they don't want to let, Team USA down. And the world obviously wants to compete for, they think they're better than America with basketball. But I don't know. I don't know if this necessarily works out, because, again, you have too many USA guys that get left off the All-Star weekend. But I don't know. You got to figure something out, though, because All-Star weekend is a joke in the NBA. I would like to say it's, better elsewhere, but the Pro Bowl and everything is a joke as well. So,
yeah, I mean, that's the same deal. I mean, they're doing flag football now. I mean, they're not even doing real football.
You got to find a way to incentivize these guys to actually want to play in that.
Yeah, I mean, the MLB All-Star used to be, if the AL or the NL would win, they'd get home field advantage during the World Series.
Yeah, and I like the idea of that, but the only drawback you get from that is those guys that are on the All-Star team that aren't going to play in the NBA Finals. What's their incentive to want to play for that if they're not going to go there anyway?
You think that's how they think?
I mean, they're already not competing as is. So why would that incentivize them?
Well, that if their team makes a run, that they would have an advantage.
Yeah, but take like the Spurs, for instance, and I'm not saying, again, I use this as an example just because they're like 12th in the West. And I'm not saying that because Wemby was really the only one you could tell out there on Sunday that was like trying hard. Yeah. But let's just say if he, falls back into the same mindset as everybody else, Spurs are 12th in the West. What is he competing for? They're not going to the finals. They may not even make the playoffs. So what's his incentive to want to do that?
that if for some reason the Spurs make the playoffs, they will eventually have an advantage. You think those guys go out there and just, well, I'm not going to make the playoffs. I'm just going to play.
I mean,
Those
again,
guys are highest competitors at their sport. They're
I
going
mean,
to
again,
compete.
but at the same time, they're already like this. Like they're just, oh, yep, 3-pointer. Oh, yep, dunk. Oh, look at that. We're already at 40. All right, we're done. I'm going home.
If that was the case, from what you're saying, then teams, the way you're saying they're playing, then why are teams better than others? If they're all good. The NBA is a very competitive league. They're all always good. They're all good players. Why are some teams better than others then?
I mean, not all all-stars come from those teams, though. That's the point.
I was talking about during the season. You're talking about an all-star. I'm talking about during the season. Those guys are competitors.
Oh, well, yeah.
You're saying what's the incentive?
During the season, but if you're, I mean, like, my point is, look at the NBA standings as is right now. The Spurs are currently 12th in the West, and they are 10 games from being in a playoff scenario, not the play-in, in a playoff scenario. They would have to go on a run, and you're going to have to hope those top 6 teams go on a losing streak, is my point, which is really unlikely.
Is it possible?
It's a very, very small chance.
I'm just saying that's the incentive. If for some reason, and you're going to have the good players, like LeBron would play, if LeBron would have played if this was an incentive, right? Now,
yes, I believe so.
Here's the competition aspect that goes to this. LeBron's playing. Wemby's going to play. I know he already tried Sunday, but he's going to play just that much harder because he's trying to stop that, because they're all competitors. They don't get to that point without being competitors. It all, like you said, all it takes is one player to start trying really, really hard, and they're playing hard defense, and now everybody's in the game.
And listen, I said that on Sunday as well. I said it's going to take somebody like, for this all-star, and without them doing all this, to really get these guys to try an all-star weekend, it's going to take somebody like Wemby. It's going to take somebody like Ant to go out there and attack one of these guys and start talking for these guys to go, all right, I'm not getting shown up now.
Yep. I think if you say, hey, all right, during the NBA Finals, East, because it's East and West still, like they should just move it back to East and West. They should just move it back to East and West.
I mean, at this point, yes.
Then they say, all right, if you're in the East or the West, then you have an advantage.
Again, I'm not necessarily not for it. I'm just saying it's.
I think you'd be surprised at how many of those players actually try if they know that they can get some sort of advantage.
Yeah, probably.
Because how many of those guys from a good team are actually an all-star? I mean, Celtics had 2.
Yeah, they had Jaylen Brown, Tatum. Cavs had 3. They had Mobley, Mitchell, Garland.
I don't know.
Knicks had Brunson and Cat. Pacers had nobody. Bucks had Giannis and Dame. Pistons had Cade.
I do think that would be an interesting thing to do. That's had to have been talked about.
Well, the thing is, at this point, you have to try.
You have to try something.
Because it's a bad product.
Right.
It's not good. And, like I had this argument with my buddy the other day, like where he was like, because I argued, at this point, why not let the rising stars play in the All-Star weekend because of Draymond's comments? And he said nobody wants to, but nobody wants to see that. They don't have a chance anyway. Nobody care. If they didn't know who they were before, that means they haven't been good enough to showcase, yada, yada, yada. And I said, at this point, I don't care. And he was like, well, you're paying $3,000 for a ticket. Who do you want to see, the young future or the 24 best all-stars? I said, at this point, the way the product is, I'd rather watch neither. I'd rather save my $3,000 for the ticket. The product is so bad right now that I don't even want to go. And I told him that. I said, honestly, and I would go, obviously, I was stretching when I said it, but I said, if you even offered me a free ticket, I would think about it, because, like, why do I want to go and just watch these guys jog up and down court, shoot a 3, rebound, jog back down the other side, shoot a 3, rebound, go back down the other side, let somebody just walk right past them for a wide open dunk? Like, it's not good basketball.
I mean, they were out there missing layups.
Yeah.
because they didn't care that much.
Yeah.
The players, you could tell the players did not like the new format.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
And again, like we said, you got to try something at this point. So I don't know what that something is, but really anymore. But you got to try something, whether it's the incentives with awards or home court advantage or whatever. You got to try something. So
yeah,
I don't know. You got to do something though. But real quick, I do want to get your thoughts on LeBron waiting for the last minute to decide he wasn't going to play.
If this was something he wanted to play in, he would have played. I don't think he cared.
I've heard both sides of the argument of people saying that they were okay with it, and then people obviously that were just inevitably going to hate no matter what he decided to do, that don't like it. And I understand both sides of it. So obviously on the hate side of it, it is a little bit selfish. He could have given that spot up Saturday, probably knowing he wasn't going to play Sunday, and given it to somebody else that was currently there that could have played and filled out that 8th spot.
Yeah.
So I do get that part of it. But my argument to that was, okay, y'all were in outrage about LeBron doing that. Nobody said anything about Ant doing the same thing that night and not playing. Nobody said anything about that. 2, what's the difference in that? And what I believe it was a couple years ago, Jimmy Butler checked into the All-Star game for 1 minute, checked out, and then refused to go back in the rest of the game.
So here's the difference in between LeBron and Ant and Jim. You said Jimmy Butler. Here's the difference. LeBron is the face of the league.
Yeah.
That's like the CEO hosting a meeting of your company, and he decides last minute, I'm just not going to talk or show up or do nothing. We're just going to hang out. Y'all talk. How would that look?
But at that point, when you've given so much to the game, what does it matter?
He's almost out. The point is, he could have just jogged up and down the court.
I get it,
like they were doing.
But he also could have just very well
and he could have
went out there and played a minute, and then went out.
He could have
went out there, jogged, take 1 3, and then check out.
But at least he did. At least he did something. So not only did he not play at all, how only did he play at all? He also didn't give his spot up to someone who could have been excited to do.
No, that. I am more on the LeBron should have given his spot up side. I 100% am behind that.
Yeah,
because
if he was that hurt, he knew before.
Yes, and there was another argument for LeBron. It was okay because they were like, somebody had said, well, think about the people that had paid money. LeBron at least waited to the last second to try at least. And because, people had paid their money. And if he'd announced before the All-Star weekend that he wasn't going to play, it would have been a bummer. Well, newsflash, the All-Star weekend's already a bummer no matter what. But secondly, I would, as a ticket buyer, I would rather know going into the All-Star weekend that LeBron's not going to play. And I still bought the ticket knowing that, versus waiting and getting all the way until Sunday and finding out he's not playing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I didn't like it. I thought he knew that ankle was sore, and he knew there was a possibility going into at least Friday that he wasn't going to play, and he definitely knew by Saturday night that he wasn't going to play. So,
yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any good in it.
No.
At all, to be honest.
So, didn't like it. So,
it is what it is. Like you said, he's giving everything to the game. He didn't give a shit. That's what it looked like. And the format was terrible. He probably knew it was terrible. He's like, I'm not playing in this shit. I don't want to do that. So I'm done. I'm just going to chill out. Y'all have fun. I'm going to rest a little bit, take my breaks so I can go compete for a championship with Luka.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, just a little recap. I mean, pretty much sum it up all in one word is they need to do something to fix it. Just in one sentence. They need to do something to fix it. Plain and simple.
Got to figure something out. Try at this point, just change the format every year until you find something that sticks.
Yep. All right. Well, let's move on to a little bit of a broader topic about AI and sports betting. And this question came from a viewer listener asking us to talk about this. And He specifically said sports betting, but AI is ingrained in a lot that we do in our entire lives. So, but in general, sports in general, because think about how often now in sports they talk about analytics, right? So let's just first let me back up a little bit. Let's I'm going to give you the definition of AI from an AI language model. Okay.
We're going to get the definition of AI from AI.
Yep. So and now they're probably going to be all a little similar. There's going to be a little probably tweaks in a single word that a different language model might give you, but this is from Google's Gemini. So now when you Google something, it pops up at the very top and it says AI overview. That's Google's Gemini reacting to your question. So that's their language model determining what to say.
Right.
So AI, the definition of AI from Google's Gemini is a field of study that focuses on creating machines that can learn, reason, and act like humans. AI uses algorithms, data, and computing power to simulate human intelligence. That is the definition of AI from AI. Now, how this plays into sports, as I kind of just referred to it just a minute ago, was everything is about analytics now. And these models take in a bunch of data and they try, they almost can try to predict like the future of what's going to happen. So I guarantee you now when coaches, teams of different sports, whether it's college or pros, they're using some sort of language model that's probably custom to what they want. Someone built it for them.
Right.
To get the best analytics possible.
Yeah, I mean, teams now on staff have analytics guys, like specifically.
Yeah, those guys are. I guarantee you, they're. And I don't know this for sure, but I would say like 95% sure that they're using some sort of AI to help with this, because it's not only no human error involved in the numbers, but it's going to be very fast on how it gives you the numbers.
Quick and easy.
Pretty much. So I did a little research on the sports betting side. I was kind of curious to how it already is ingrained. Most of your top sports betting apps use AI to price their odds now. So DraftKings, FanDuel, those are the two that I were noticing that do that. They use it to predict to price their odds that when you create like a parlay. Now I don't sports bet that much, but when you create a parlay, you're creating your own odds on it, right?
Right.
So it's going to use AI to help price. Okay, here's what the price is. Your payout would be for this like $10 bet. So not only they're using AI to do that, I think people should start to use AI to fight against AI. So that's the only way. It's the only way you can beat AIs with AI. It's not humanly possible for us to beat a machine that widely versed in different topics and numbers, and especially if it's like custom to what like sports, it's going to know everything. So these sports betting apps, I would use it to your advantage. Now, here's the one thing that I don't like about using AI for sports betting is that sports in general, if you're any sort of fan of any sport, you know it's very kind of unpredictable sometimes.
Anything can happen.
What happens now? You do some research. You say, who do you think is going to win this game on this date? I mean, you have to get pretty specific with these language models, but who's going to win these games, this matchup on this date? It's going to give you an output, and it's going to give you it can give you some percentages on who is probably going to win the game, right?
Right.
What happens last minute if you say the Lakers win in this game against the Mavs? Let's use the Mavs just for some because it's funny now. What happens if Lucas says, last minute, I'm out? So the data has to be there for the AI to make a decision.
Right. So if it's not already in that Lucas out, they're figuring it in as in Lucas playing.
Correct. So that is the downfall, I think, in sports betting, because it doesn't. You're making your bet. Now there is live sports betting, which is probably used in AI too. So it's just quickly giving you different odds based on how the
Yes.
game's
Yeah.
going. But in something like that, I think that could hurt you, because then you've already put in bets for the day for, let's just say, football Sunday, and turns out Josh Jacobs was a game time decision, and now he's not playing. So the odds go down for the Packers
To win.
to win. So that is the one con I see to that. Other than that, AI should be used every aspect in sports that it should be, and use AI as a tool, not a decision maker for your sports betting. That's how I would say it.
Yep. I've tried it already.
Yeah, how'd that go?
It didn't work out.
So, but there's different language models out there, and the ones you're using were free. So there's more powerful ones that you can pay for that have different sets of data. But, I mean, AI in general is going to take jobs in the next 10 to 15 years. I mean, it's a very powerful tool, and I really do think that it has a good spot in, or technology in general, not just AI, but technology in general has a really good spot, and it fits well with sports. Another example I'll give you for technology in sports is, what the Apple Vision Pro is, right? The VR, AR headset that Apple created, I guess, either last year or 2 years ago now. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. So I did a demo of it at the Apple Store, and it's super cool. Like, I would suggest anybody, if they still do demos, go try it out. And part of their deal that Apple has is they have a pass with MLS. So one of the part of the demo was you sat there, you put it on, and it was like you were sitting field side at a soccer game. I mean, it looks so realistic. If you think about how much ticket prices are now and how expensive it is to go to a game, why would I not? I mean, that's not including like travel, lodging,
food,
food,
drink.
everything, right? How much, if let's just say a ticket's, I don't know, $400, $500 to get for a Vision Pro Pass. If people actually saw how real it looked, I would do that. I would still end up saving money.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember. I don't know the exact name of it, but there's one in Dallas and there's one in Los Angeles. What's that? It's like a restaurant type thing that has that in like football. It's like you're sitting directly in the end zone, front row, or it's almost like you're on the field in the end zone. Yep. Watching it from that angle.
Yeah, and think about that. And
then
8K.
NBA has like their league pass, like with that through, and like where it's like you're sitting courtside at a game. So I mean, yeah, I mean it's a.
I mean,
why not just have the comfort of sitting on my couch at home, putting on my goggles and just watching a game and acting, looking like I'm sitting courtside of a game, versus going through almost the hassle of traffic if you're not necessarily a people person, dealing with all these people to get down to your seats and everything, and just sitting there and just watching it.
Yeah, I mean, something like the Vision Pro has a hefty price tag at first. I mean, it's like $3,000, but it's going to get cheaper with the way it's going. Everything's going to get cheaper. Technology, like that kind of technology is, and it's only going to get better. But even how much you think a courtside ticket is at the Lakers game?
Oh, it's
tens
of thousands. Yeah.
I mean, all right. Let's just say I spend $3,000 on a headset and some money on beer and popcorn at my house. I think that still outweighs the difference in pricing there.
So let's see. Just out of curiosity,
and it shoots in 8K. The Vision Pro does.
So
you're looking at an 8K.
No, that's not what I wanted. So Wednesday, there's one courtside, if it's going to let me. A courtside seat at the Lakers game for Wednesday against the Hornets for two. And this doesn't include including fees and everything. For two tickets is $5,297 a piece.
A piece?
Yeah.
Yep. Still cheaper.
So
Go out buy a Vision Pro if you're going to sit courtside. Now, is it the same? Is it really the same as being in person? No.
no, you can't. You can do what you want, but it doesn't equal out to the being there. But it is pretty damn close.
I mean, people need to see it for themselves to see how real it is. But yeah, things like that. Technology is going to be ingrained into sports even more than this, probably than just in the next 5 years in that aspect. But overall, sports betting, use the language models that you all know, like the Google's Gemini, OpenAI's ChatGPT, things like that. Use it as a tool. Don't use it as a decision maker. Still make your own educated decision. Because, everybody at sports bets, like, I got a feeling this is going to happen. Then that long shot might just happen. I mean, there's been people that have won, hundreds of thousands of dollars off this long parlay because that's what they decided months before.
They're just like, hey, I'm feeling it. We're going to roll with it.
Yeah. So use it as a tool for information, which is what those language models are there for. And then I say make your own decisions at the end of the day. That is my take on AI in sports betting.
Or just be like me and just lose your bets every day because you think you know and you don't.
Maybe if you used AI as a tool to help make your decisions, you might win a little more.
Maybe.
Because what you did with AI was you asked it for games, decisions on games, not information like, I don't know, how many times how many games have the Lakers won in the past, so and so years or something like that, or so and so like past months, or how many games
you just
did they
do
win?
like out of the how many times you could, because I've seen it done. You could do like in the last 10 games, how many times has let's just say how many times has LeBron gone over 20 points? Just something like that.
Something like that. You're like, okay, well now he's saying, he's
right,
been over the last 10,
okay, he's
8
gone
and 9,
over 9 of the last 10. I can take this 90% chance and try it.
Yep. Stuff like that. Then make your bets. But LeBron's dealing with a ankle injury. Maybe not.
You can't decide that.
Good. Maybe not. But yeah, so that's our take on AI and technology in general in sports betting. All right, but
very well said, Douglas.
Yeah, let's get into the. Well, thank you, I appreciate it. Let's get into the last topic we had was the U.S. and Canada hockey game. Now,
the most watched non-Stanley Cup hockey game ever.
Yep. So what this is, if you don't know, which I had to look this up, it's called the Four Nations Face-Off, which are NHL players. It's an international NHL game, and they're playing for their countries.
But they're all exhibition games.
But they're all exhibition games. So you have the U.S., you have Canada, you have Sweden, and you have Finland, and they have all played each other. It seems the U.S. and Canada. We're recording this Tuesday, February 18th. They're playing for the championship in Boston on February 20th. Thursday, February 20th. Yep, it's a championship game. So it's been an interesting thing to watch. And then on the U.S. and Canada side, the first match that they
Saturday
night game. It all started.
It started with a fight.
Well, in the first 9 seconds, there was three fights.
3 fights in 9 seconds.
Yeah, but it all started when Canada booed the national anthem, the U.S. national anthem, and I guess you go to the lock. I guess they already there was talks about they've already said in the locker room if they hear boos,
they said in the locker room that was predetermined. He said we're going to come out here and set the tone. I'm throwing a punch as soon as the puck drops.
Yeah, and as a country and as a fan of sports, it was great.
Oh yeah,
because these guys were basically defending their country by fighting people. And I've never been to an NHL game. I've always wanted to. I think it's super fun to watch hockey. I've watched, I think it would be super fun to watch hockey in person. But I've watched it on TV, and it's like during like playoffs and stuff. I mean, it's exciting. It's back
that's
and forth,
typically
back and forth.
when I watch it. I don't watch it during really the regular season because it kind of collides with the end of football and then basketball.
Well, on top of that, someone sent me this today. There's a quote. Let me pull it up real quick. It's talking about what you just said. I don't watch it during the regular season. And it says there's a report saying that NHL viewership is in the U.S. is way, way, way down. But this guy made a comment on the post, and he said you need about a half dozen different services / subscriptions to watch NHL games.
It's much harder to watch NHL than it is any other league.
Right. And then you're even blacked out randomly, or there's some random switch to a different network that you can only access if you answer these riddles in threes or something. Is funny.
Which is the downfall of all these. The NFL seems to have the only like package where you buy what you're actually getting and you don't get blacked out in your area for that game. Like
I might get blacked out while I'm watching.
Like we started buying Sunday Ticket 2 years ago.
Yep.
And we bought it for the sole purpose of we want to be able to watch the Colts play every Sunday without having an issue, because we're from Louisville, and while the Colts, Bengals, and Titans are the three closest teams locally to us, you would think if those guys are playing at home, we get the luxury of getting to watch pretty much, there's a 66% chance that we're going to get to see the Colts. No, because unfortunately for us, they also like to, for whatever reason, play the Browns. Fox is going to play whatever the national game is, so we don't get the local game on Fox. And then also because Lamar Jackson is from Louisville, if Baltimore's playing now, the Colts definitely get the boot. Yeah. So we bought Sunday Ticket with the sole purpose of, all right, we want to be able to watch the Colts without having these issues. And we don't get blacked out from games being able to watch them. But you buy NBA, you get blacked out from watching certain games. You buy MLB even, because I've had MLB, because we usually get it for free through T-Mobile. They offer that deal and they give it to you for free through T-Mobile. And like if I'm a Guardians fan, I watch the Guardians here, which is no problem. But if I go to Cleveland, like if I go back home and visit, if I'm in Cleveland, I can't watch the Guardians play on the MLB network.
Because you're in the area.
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense. Like I have this package for this reason. It shouldn't matter where I'm at.
No, they make this shit too complicated.
So it seems like everybody just makes it if you buy a subscription to one of these things, I should have access to all the games if I'm buying a package. I mean, it's just what it is.
Yep.
And if you don't, you need to make it clear when you're buying in the description that this is a possibility, because they don't make that clear. They put it in, the fine print that nobody reads.
Of course.
So, yeah, it's stupid. The NFL seems to be the only one that has it right.
Yeah. And that sucks for hockey, because I think at this point I would rather watch the NHL over the NBA during the regular season. That's me. Yeah, playoffs are all different, but playoffs are all televised very easily.
Yeah,
too.
They're all on national TV. You can watch them whenever.
Yeah. So, but playoffs, everybody gets they get more serious when it's, during rather than in the regular season.
Yeah, it was great. I didn't watch it because I was watching, unfortunately, All-Star Saturday Night, and I was watching Kentucky lose another unranked game to Texas. But yeah, I'm going back and watching the highlights and watching it all afterwards makes me kind of wish I was watching it instead of what I was watching.
Yep, I'm all for it. I'll be watching Saturday night, maybe from my phone, because we're going out for your birthday. But
that's Thursday. Well,
Thursday. Sorry, Thursday. Well, I'll be watching then.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that pretty much does it, right?
It does. That's all I got.
All right. Well, guys, remember, if you like this episode, go give us a follow. We are on YouTube. Go subscribe to the channel. Click those little bells. See that little notification bell right there? It kind of gives you a notification, so when we release a new one, you get a notification.
And then don't forget, we post everything with the link to all the little link that gives you all the links to all social medias, all Spotify, Apple, Amazon, YouTube, anything. So it's a real quick, easy access to all the links. It's in my bio of my Instagram and then the Twitter. And then in Twitter, I don't know if Doug has it in his, but so.
Yeah. All right. See you guys.
See you.